Good morning. I'm being slow this morning. Good morning, everybody. Gonna have my coffee. Get myself together here. So, good morning. This is Loving My Veteran, and we're walking in my shoes this morning. Today's topic is square peg, round hole. It'll make sense to you in a little bit. It's how we kind of make things, and we're focused on certain things. We can make them fit anywhere. Again, you know the drill. We are not paid professional counselors. If you need help, please reach out and get it. It was a little late this morning, so I'm going to have another swallow of coffee before we get too started. Lots of good things coming up today. Please do not forget we are doing Let's Talk tonight. Good morning, Sarah. I need to email you the cover, the thumbnail for the website stuff, the YouTube stuff. Anyway, sorry. We have lots of things coming up, lots and lots. Do not forget Let's Talk tonight. It is an event. You know, y'all can click on the thing. I'll make sure it goes to the page again as well. So that's coming on tonight. Just all of us getting together, talking about problems, issues, questions. Next Thursday night on Let's Talk, we are blessed to have Mr. AJ Veal from the Shepherd's Clinic with us. And he will be discussing TBI and Shepherd's treatment for TBI. It'll be about an hour with him, and then he'll leave, and we can have the rest of our Let's Talk. But it'll be a question and answer session. And we've decided, good morning, Sue, Sunny, Jennifer. We've decided that rather than try to do podcasts, we're going to start bringing on guests every other week, probably, on Let's Talk that deal with issues that we have, which will let you do questions and answers with them. We thought that was probably a better thing than just hearing people talk where you can actually answer questions. So that's coming up. We just have lots and lots. Sarah Kim, thank you for everything. She has 110 videos downloaded from Let's Talk to be able to go to the YouTube channel. Woo woo, I'm excited. So that's out there. For those of you who cannot see this one, can see it. The Loving My Veteran bracelets, we have them now. Carl's getting ready to do the inventory, and we will put those on the page and the group on how you can purchase one if you would like, because that's what helps fund us to be able to do what we're doing. So we're putting that out there too. All right, so the topic of the day. Square peg, round hole. I think so many times, you know, when we talk about where we're at in our life and what we have to overcome and kind of accomplish and deal with, we get in this mentality that we get so focused on something and an objective or an answer or a reason that we don't always see the whole picture. We are trying so diligently to put this square peg in a round hole. And we do it a lot. I mean, let's just start with something simple, and this is a proven fact. There are people in this world who want to have a baby so bad, okay? They convince themselves that they're pregnant. Their periods stop, and eventually they start lactating, and they can even, their stomach can get bigger. Hey, Nakia, I need to talk to you when you're done because I want to find out what you messaged me in the middle of the night for, and you can call me anytime. Sorry. But they create a pseudo pregnancy, like a fake pregnancy, but their body is so convinced that they're pregnant that that's all they see. Their body is so convinced, so their periods stop, they lactate, they do the whole 9 yards because they are so believed so hard that that's the outcome. So we have that same thing that goes on in our lives and with everything. You know, when I talk about this, it's not just about our veteran, it's about everything. But it is how we have changed our mindset to think. Y'all, we so often say, well, he or she is not doing this because it's the PTSD. We get so focused on the PTSD when the PTSD may not be the issue. So our whole mindset becomes our square peg becomes PTSD. And everything that's wrong in our relationship, everything that is wrong in our relationship, we cram into the square peg called PTSD. It doesn't matter if it's your veterans issues that are going on that create the PTSD moment. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's what we're doing that we're feeding into it that is causing that PTSD thing. It doesn't matter if, as a relationship, we're failing to communicate and doing good relationship things, so we cram that into the PTSD. It doesn't matter if we're depressed, which we can do and get easily, and so we cram that into the PTSD square peg, and then we try to force that peg into that round hole. When the reality is the PTSD is a portion, and the rest of it would fill up the round hole if you put it to where you want it to go. So we do that. We get so focused on a specific thing that we try to create and make it work. Conspiracy theories work. Conspiracy theories everywhere work because people buy into it. You can make anything fit in any puzzle that you want. They can do that. And you know, when you're doing a real puzzle and you got the little thing and it doesn't quite fit, but you sit there on your table and you pound it into it fits, and you're like, yes, that fits. And then at the end of the day, you got a piece that doesn't fit, and it's because of the piece you crammed into the wrong one. We can do that with everything. We can do that with everything in our life. We can make everything be that square peg that we're trying to shove in that round hole. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So let's say, for example, that they say, oh, well, your veteran has PTSD and depression. Oh, and now we're going to kick up the bipolar. Okay, the bipolar is now going to come into play. That's the next diagnosis, because some days are good, some days are not. Well, you know what? There are some days I'm good and some days I'm not. It doesn't mean I have bipolar disorder, but we get so focused on, oh, this is a possible new diagnosis, right? So now we go back and we look at everything they may have done in the past, and we're like, oh, yeah, this kind of fits bipolar. Let me check that off. This kind of fits bipolar. Let me check that off. And next thing we know, we're blaming everything and we're fitting it into the square peg. We've done it with our kids with ADHD. For like, I'm gonna really spill out my age when I tell you that. But when my kids were growing up, so in the mid to late 90s, every kid had ADHD. Okay, every kid had attention deficit disorder. Can I just say something? Every 6-year-old has attention deficit disorder. It is a fact of life. Their attention span is long at 6 or 7 years old. You can't expect a 7-year-old to sit there and do an hour's worth of math and little math worksheets and not have them run around the room. It's not going to work. But what did we do? We went through as a society and said, oh, today, every child has this. We're going to give them medication. And so then they gave us this checkoff sheet, right? This checkoff sheet. Now, realize we are talking about a 7-year-old-ish child. And we have this checkoff sheet. And they said, does your child easily get distracted while watching TV? Yes. Carl gets distracted while watching TV. I get distracted while watching TV. Okay, it happens. Does your child seem hyper when they go out and play? Well, I don't know about you, but most 7-year-olds can tend to do that. Is your child having a hard time staying focused on task for more than a half an hour? But I could check off every one of those boxes. It didn't mean that's what was going on with them. So we do this all too often. So we take our relationships, and it's so much easier to take everything that we find wrong and cram it into the PTSD square peg. And then we try to force it at home. And then we don't understand why we're not getting anywhere. My depression, my anxiety, Carl must have PTSD, so let me cram it into that peg. Me having my knee jerk reactions, as he calls them, that's because he triggered me, so it must be PTSD related. Nope, it's because girlfriend can be a bitch and spew venom. It has nothing to do with his PTSD. Girlfriend can be a bitch and spew venom. So you have to be accountable for where it fits. And then all of a sudden, all of this stuff that we're blaming on this and trying to make it fit into our square peg no longer fits in there. And when your square peg isn't massive and it's a little sliver of your life, it will go right through that round hole. And that's where we have to learn to sit back and say, I'm going through depression, or I'm anxious, or I'm having anxiety, or I'm frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Because you're not communicating with them? Okay. Why are you frustrated? Are you frustrated? Yeah, I go back to my lovely little person here who's commenting, and it's Nakia. She get Richard out. She gets back home, right? Yay, she's got power. That was the number one thing. We got power. Then they got all excited about the water. We're going to get water. Oh, yeah, they got water all right. It looked like Niagara Falls erupting in her kitchen. Okay, so because all the lines had frozen. So now it's, oh, you need a new washer. Well, she gets the new washer, and then the company's like, oh, well, we can't hook them together because we don't have the dryer. And it has to be the same brand washer and dryer because they were stacked, and you know, the universal bracket won't do that, so you got to go out and buy this. That's frustration. That had nothing to do with Richard having PTSD. That was frustration. Put frustration where frustration goes. Mr. Mouse, are you trying to do this too? Mouse just came in. Put the frustration where it goes. You can't shove it into the PTSD peg. So we go through depression. But part of the reason we get depressed and we go through anxiety and we get ourselves all in worked up is because we want to make this thing, and it's all got to fit into the PTSD thing, and we're not dealing with the issues at hand. And that's what happens. That's what happens. Carl and I had, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. Burning Down the House is my new theme song. Just going to tell you. So, last night I was cooking dinner, and somehow, you know, the lupus fog will kick in. The hot pad, Nakia, you're going to love this. The hot pad got underneath of the cast iron pan and was sitting between the cast iron pan and the stove, the burner. We have a flat top burner. And I turned it on medium high so I could get my steak seared just perfect. Well, I'm smelling something burning. And I'm like, and I'm looking, and the smoke's starting to come up around the side of the pan. Ooh, this isn't good. I move it. And this pot holder now is in full-blown flamey stuff coming all over the stove, right? And it's like, it wasn't there when I put the pot on there. And I'm like, well, I didn't put the pot. Yeah, so there's this back and forth thing. And so he's trying very gingerly to walk around and say, Stacy, it's okay. It isn't. And finally, we just sat on the couch after it was done, and we saved it. The house didn't burn down. The kitchen and the dining room were solid full of smoke. We got all that out. The steaks were fabulous. I cooked them in another pan. Everything was good. And we're talking, and I said, this is lupus. Oh. And he said, oh, no, it just happens. And I said, no. This is what's happening because of the lupus issues. Losing the medication. I lost my medicine the other day. That was hysterical. But that's a reality I have to face. So instead of just saying, hey, you're dumb and you can't cook anymore, put it where that needs to go. That needed to go into the lupus peg. It's going to happen. I have it. We can't avoid it. We can't ignore it. But I can't put everything there in that peg. So if I have a headache, I can't say, oh, this headache is caused by lupus. This headache can be a headache caused by stress or everything else. And there are certain ones that are. But so you can't shove everything into that hole. And we do it. Everything that's wrong in this world goes into this thing. Oh my god, that is hysterical, sir. Yeah, it was like that at our house. So Sarah goes, yesterday was a bad day. Then tried cleaning and got a toilet brush stuck in the shower drain. I love it. I love you. That's great. I will say I clean the shower drain really, really well. I'm not sure I've ever used a toilet brush to do it. So again, Sarah's a prime example of square peg round hole. Toilet brush is designed to go in the toilet, not in the drain, ma'am. But this is what we do, y'all. We do it all the time. And we don't, oh, girl. We don't, y'all clean drains. She said it's still stuck. We do this all the time. We try so hard to put stuff in a place it doesn't belong instead of take ownership for what it is and move on. You know, I've decided to get back into some of these other groups, and I do more for reading of them than I do for. Yeah, it does take talent. I do it more for education than um, anything else. And you get in there, and hold on, my child is calling me. It might be important to me. Hold on, real quick. Yes, sir. I'm in a thing. Is it important? I'm doing a live. Is it important, or can you wait 15 minutes? Oh, okay. He can wait 15 minutes. Sorry. But when your child calls, you still answer. But we do this. We get so focused on cramming things in instead of, when you read these other groups, y'all, their whole life is PTSD. Their whole life is TBI. Their whole life is centered around this. I'm not centered around this all the time. I told you that for Carl, and he'll tell you, and most veterans will tell you that have the PTSD, that movie plays in their head kind of all the time in the background, and then something triggers it and it comes forward. But it doesn't make your whole life. It doesn't make your whole life. It doesn't do that whole life for you. Thanks, Elisa. It doesn't do that for you. If the grass needs to be cut, it can get cut. We're not going to sit here and say the grass is going to grow up to our butt because we have PTSD. We're not going to say that we're not going to clean the house because of PTSD. We're not going to say we're not going to the grocery store because of PTSD. We're not going to say that we're not going to wash clothes because of PTSD. You can't put every problem in that bag. And that is eye-opening. And I'm going to tell you what happens when you start to realize that it all doesn't fit into that peg. When you start to realize that everything wrong that you feel is wrong and that you feel that is weighing down on you, when you sit back and you start to, in lack of better words, peel it back one layer at a time. Yeah, you had to pull your ass off the couch with depression. I had to too. We all do. But when you start peeling layers back one thing at a time and you realize that everything that is wrong in your life is not PTSD, or that you feel is wrong in your life is not PTSD, you are creating weight by blaming it on that. You are creating a weight by blaming it on that, by trying to cram it in there. Because we all know we can't cure PTSD. We know that. It's not a secret. So if you get in your mindset that we're not going to be able to cure their PTSD, and everything that is wrong in our life is because of their PTSD, then what does that make us? It makes everything that we feel, we're always going to be this way because there's no cure and we're never going to get better, and this is the life we're destined to live. And that's not true. That's not true. Let's be realistic. I have PTSD. Sometimes I'm just a bitch. Sometimes Carl is just an ass. That has nothing to do with his PTSD or me with mine. Sometimes I'm just a bitch and he's just an ass, and you got to learn to differentiate that. And when you realize that sometimes I can just be this or he can just be that, all this weight goes away. This weight goes away. And yes, sir, you're right. You got to want it. Do you want to live in this state of depression that we all felt at one time that brought us all here? Do we all want to live in that constantly every single day? No. We want to have normal, functioning lives, and there's no such word as true normal, but normal for you. We want to have normal, functioning lives. We want to go on. We want to have days. Think about what Sarah just said. She got the. I'm sorry. That is the best example of square peg round hole ever. She got the toilet bowl brush shut, lodged in the shower drain when she was cleaning it. Okay? So look at what happened. He didn't freak out. He didn't have a PTSD moment. He didn't have a TBI moment. And yeah, so she got it there. But what was her fear? She was panicked, she was anxious, she was depressed because she couldn't get out, and she didn't know how he was going to respond. And guess what happened? He laughed at her. Sarah, you're going to find that they also want it because they're going to enjoy life when you stop taking everything in your life and saying it is PTSD or TBI, and you start to enjoy things. They will want it to. They will want it to. Negativity breeds negativity. So as long as we wallow in this negativity that we carry with us at home every day, and I don't care if you spit it out and you tell him what's negative, your actions, your physical demeanor shows it. It shows it. So even if they've driven you batshit nuts crazy and you're trying not to say it to trigger them, they still see it. And you know, they come to you, what's wrong? And you put this on, nothing, honey. And they know damn good and well there's something wrong. They see it. Okay, so we try to cram it there. Yeah, you rarely talk about it. You know that it happens, and you have to be aware that it happens, and education is key, but your whole life doesn't focus on that. And when they start to see that happiness there, because think about their depression, and how many of our veterans have said, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. I'm broken. You don't deserve this. A lot of them have said it. A lot of them said it to us. You know that. Well, when all they feel is that their whole life is PTSD too, guess what? Put it where it belongs. But when they start seeing you come out of this depression, when they start seeing that you don't blame everything on their PTSD or TBI, when they start seeing that PTSD and TBI doesn't define them in your eyes anymore, when they start to see that, they will start to make that change. It is a time process. But Sarah, I look at the victories that he's had. He is listening and he is wanting more. He is listening. He was part of the conversation last Thursday. He is wanting more. Those are the victories. And you do have to find the activities and the things that make you happy. You can't live your life living in the negative. You know, we talked about the other day, get your ass up out of the septic tank. They got to wallow in their own septic mess. But we don't all have to be there all the time. We all have bad moments. Remember what I said. There's 80,000 plus seconds in a day. There's 31 million. 31 million seconds in a year. Focus on a little bit. And I agree with Elisa. The way he reacted yesterday was a victory, sister. Now you can go get like some little cute, put a rubber ducky on top of the toilet bowl brush up in your shower tray. Make it like a fountain or something. But he didn't react negatively and he didn't explode. And that is a victory. And what that tells me is that he wants it. He wants it. He wants that with you. That's what that tells me. And when we start peeling the pieces off and realizing our whole life is not PTSD TBI, it is a portion of. And it doesn't define them. It doesn't define you. And it doesn't define your relationship. It's going to be better. And you know, sometimes I am a firm advocate. A firm advocate. Exactly. Save all the negative for the VA. I know. There's a whole thing, Megan. And we have never talked about that on this site. We've never done it for a reason. But there is a whole other concept about that. Yeah. But here's what happens, Sarah. Michelle and I were talking about this morning. When you worry for others that can't even talk to their veterans about it. We couldn't either in the beginning. We couldn't either. It was a process. So, you know, we've all said we've been in other groups and support groups. When you start posting positive, we can do that. And now that my YouTube queen woman has all these videos that are coming up, you know, we can direct them to videos that inspire and that answer their questions. And everybody will see that it is little layers. It is an evolution. You know, I asked my mom, I said, did you love my dad as much when he died as you did when you married him? And she said, absolutely. Absolutely. I loved him more. So we can learn to love each other more. We can learn to love in our relationship more. But nobody loves the PTSD. They don't want to have it. Jeremy was sitting in a counseling session with a bunch of veterans, and they said, oh, well, yours happened in training, and it was a bad jump, and yours happened in training. And the one veteran said, you don't deserve PTSD. And Jeremy looked at him and said, nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves it. None of them deserve PTSD. None of them deserve a TBI. It's what they have. It's what we've done. And that is what we keep doing. Thank you, Sarah. Actions and words. Well, let's don't make our whole life about it. Let's don't make PTSD our square peg that we're cramming into the round hole. Let's don't make it that anymore. Let's stop making it that. Whittle down PTSD to what it is. It's a sliver of your life. And then that sliver will fit through that round hole all day, every day. But when you put all this other junk, it's never going to go. Stop looking for diagnoses and reasons to blame. Y'all understand it is so easy to point the blame to something else. Remember yesterday, but I didn't. But this didn't. No. It's what it is. Me yelling is not acceptable. It's not because of PTSD that I yell. I yell because I'm a bitch. That's why I yell. That's the reality. And that's where we have to get in our lives. What's your reality? We don't talk. Why do you and your veteran not talk to each other? Because I don't want to trigger him. Oh, so you're just sitting here existing, letting anger, hostility, frustration build up, and then you want to blame it all on PTSD? Well, yeah, probably is, because you know what? You're the one who just did that by not talking to them because you don't want to trigger them. And now we have all this circle back to the seeds of doubt and da da da, and it creates a way bigger problem. And we've talked about that. But how are we? Yeah. I've been yelling since I was little too. I probably yelled in the womb. And it is very hard to come down from it. It is very hard to not yell. It is very hard for me. But we're getting there. And it's a work in progress. And I probably will stop yelling the day I stop breathing. I'm just saying that. I may not do it as often, but probably the end will be the day I stop breathing. So here's where we are. Our depression, our frustrations, our stuff, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Stop blaming it on PTSD, and this shoulders will get lighter and lighter. Your shoulders and that weight that is on your shoulders will get lighter and lighter. And that's what happens. So just don't make it. Don't force it. Let it be what it is. So with that said, today, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, let's talk. You know we are always riled up and have a great time. It has been an amazing thing for us. Next week, and you'll start to see a bunch of them where I'm sharing them on there, we're having AJVL come talk to us from Shepherds. Anybody who has a TBI, and the treatment that Shepherds does is amazing. And there's two things about Shepherds and Emory, and we're gonna start having guests on. I think we've talked about trying to do it every other week for like an hour in, so we can have a question and answer and education. One of the things that we found out is that Shepherds and Emory do not require a diagnosis of. If you're having signs or symptoms of a TBI or PTSD to get into their programs, that's all you need, because a lot of our veterans don't want it in there. Yeah, I know, Sue. That's what I said too. I told y'all I took my tongue ring out because of the yelling. So Shepherds will be here next Thursday night, and then of course the 29th we are doing Medicaid Normal, which is a phenomenal movie. That will be at the same time that we normally have Let's Talk, so we won't be doing it that day. So you have to click on that link and get your tickets. They are $10 a piece, but that's whoever's sitting in the room with you can watch it on those $10. And then there will be a panel question and answer afterwards. So it will not just be watching the movie. You're going to get to watch the movie. It is about 70, a little over an hour long. It's real fast paced. It's easy to watch. Carl's watched it in one sitting without having to get up, and no triggers. So it is fabulous, and that's coming on. I put some stuff out yesterday. Please check on that. Burn pit people, they're now saying that allergies that may come across are going to be presumptive. Please click on that registry. It came from the VA. I get those updates, so I'm posting those to share those with you guys and your veterans because we're all about education. I think that's where we are today. Elisa, again, thanks for opening up the room yesterday. Stephanie did an amazing job on her Wednesdays as always. Oh, and the wristbands, I will put them on today. We have them in stock, and we will get them out. You can do it by PayPal. If you don't have PayPal, you need to message me, and I can walk you through Venmo, because God knows I tried that the other day and was a huge mistake. The Venmo is still working out their business account, so I can talk you through the Venmo if you need it. So that is where we are on those, but we do have the PayPal account set up. So we'll have those, and they will be shipped out, and everybody get their little bracelets. And I think that's all we have for today. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for being part of our community. Cannot wait till tonight. I've already got my snacks planned. I'm eating cheesecake tonight. Everybody get your snacks. And come join us on Let's Talk because there's no topic that is off limits. Have a blessed day. I'm Stacy. This has been Walking My Shoes, and we're loving my better.